Abuse of prescription drugs by young people is on the rise, and the CSRA is not immune to this very real issue.
A lot of young people think prescription drugs are less risky because they're prescribed by a doctor. Preventing domestic violence, it is the goal of a panel comprised of some heavy hitters, the state's attorney general, law enforcement agencies, and advocacy groups.
Hi everyone. 4 years after the invasion of Iraq, it's a good time to take stock. Since the war began, 3,192 U.S. troops have been killed, more than 24,000 wounded. At least 50,000 Iraqi civilians have died.
It's war.
Welcome home, welcome home. You made it back to a place built for the people who fought battles no one saw, a place for the ones who survived the moment but are still healing from the memory. This is not entertainment. This is not escape. This is home for the ones who still in the war with themselves, trying to build something better out of the pieces left behind. I'm Stryker. This is War. We're all recovering. And today, I got a special guest. We're sitting with the man who chose creation over destruction, who chose music when the world felt like it had no song left to play. Excuse me. Welcome to the movement, welcome to the healing, and welcome home. September 11th changed my city forever. You know, I'm from New York City. Most of you guys know. New York didn't just lose buildings. We lost rhythm. We lost breath, we lost sound, you know, the sound of who we were. Some people reacted with fear, some reacted with anger, and some, well, searched for a new voice because silence hurt even more than a memory. In the days after attacks, a New York jazz musician wrote a poem, just a poem, words trying to make sense of what had no meaning. Those words became notes. Those notes became a message, and that message turned into a project called Jazz for Peace. Not funded by politics, not pushed by any agenda, just musicians choosing to build something constructive in the middle of destruction. Today, the founder of that movement is here with us. Welcome to War. Each one reach one. We are all recovering. Family, listen, today, we welcome a pianist, vocalist, and composer who has spent his life mastering the language of expression. He studied formally at the New England Conservatory, one of the most respected music institutions in the world. I'm super excited about this. After September 11th, he founded a multicultural music project called Jazz for Peace. And in 2002, the project performed a concert at the United Nations, headquartered in New York City, bringing musicians from different backgrounds together on stage. Since then, Jazz for Peace has continued as a series of concerts and outreach efforts supporting nonprofit schools and community groups by using music as a tool for connection and collaboration. He is the founder of Jazz for Peace. Rick DellaRatta, welcome to War.
Hey, it's a great pleasure to be with you and to bring peace to war. Even though it stands for we are all recovering, I know it doesn't.
Yes,
war,
yes,
I just think
sir.
it's a great way to, Jazz for Peace and the W.A.R. podcast is a great merge here.
Thank you very much. I actually took a couple of months coming up with that name, and I thought it fit well with what was going on and what everybody is going on in the world. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
So Rick, Jazz for Peace began with the poem you wrote after 9/11. What was going on eternally for you at that time? How did writing become your first response?
Really what happened was, I had lived a few years already by the time that incident happened, and I had been around the world traveling as a musician. I had noticed things. We all have the things that we notice. You know things that I don't know. Your wife knows things that you don't know. you know what I mean? Your dog knows things that neither one of us know. You know what I mean?
Right.
We all know things that the other person doesn't know, but we don't often get a chance to say those things and to share those things with the world. I think if we all did that, we could all share information that would be positive instead of, information that kind of gets you just running around on a hamster wheel, like a lot of the crazy stuff that we hear about in the news all the time. So anyway, I had my own impressions, and I had learned that this world is actually, there's a lot of similarities between peoples, between tribes, and between indigenous people, or in between peoples of different countries, races, creeds, nationalities. And I did notice that music unites them all in a positive way. And I noticed that it didn't matter what country I was in. When I was playing music, I was watching the people affected in a positive way. And music, there were things I know now that I didn't know then. One of those things is, one of the reasons is because music, especially any kind of world-class music, thought-provoking music, it heightens your level of human consciousness, raises your level of human consciousness. And of course, now I've learned that a lot of our problems are simply lowering level of human consciousness and lowering you into areas where you can get all kinds of problems can happen at a lower level of human consciousness, and all kinds of solutions can happen at a higher level. Well, music, the arts, and culture are a higher level of human consciousness. It's really that simple. And so I noticed this camaraderie that we all had as a species. And I was thinking, wow, this is incredible the way it brings people together. And I had even noticed, I remember telling people, hey, what did you do? I'd be at a dinner party or something. Oh, I was down on, my job on Wall Street. What did you do? Well, I was at some house playing with an Israeli, drummer and a Palestinian horn player. What? I said, yeah, they come here to learn music, and, they're supposed to be at war. Well, I didn't notice any war in the room I was in. You know what I mean? I would have never noticed that there was an issue or a problem. So, he said, well, wow, you know something that not everybody else knows. I said, yeah, you might be right about that. I just took it for granted. But he said, no, nobody knows that except maybe you and maybe a few other people that have had this instance with jazz and people from other countries. I said, wow, that's interesting. So when the words came out, I realized it was time for me to kind of walk the walk,
Right.
Actually do what it is I thought. And when was I going to do it if I don't do it now? This incident had happened, words purged out of me in the form of a poem. I'll play those to music for you at some point in the podcast. I'll recite them since I know that poem is important to you, and it is, and it should be. And I had something that there were too many things that converged for me to ignore. The fact that I watched it from less than a quarter of a mile away, that's of so few people, saw the event, and from that proximity, and had that response, so all these, and was prepared by all of that I've been through as a musician to have a response other than, give blood or something, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I had a very powerful response to that incident. And if I'm not going to walk the walk now, when am I? Most people never do, and I think they regret it late in life. So I figured, let me give this a try, and here I am today with you, still trying to live up to the words of that poem.
Yes, sir. And let me tell you, it's amazing what you're doing, and it's beautiful, well put. And that makes a lot of sense because music kind of expresses what can't be spoken directly, So it's
Right.
amazing.
Right. You know what? It transcends words in a lot of ways.
Right,
You
right.
don't need all those words. And what I love about it, it gives me something with podcasting, because podcasting is great, and we've all embraced it, and it's been an incredible addition to our world and our people, but now you're adding music to it with, my appearances and my podcast as well. And now you're adding another, component that, again, is, gives you a chance to stay up at that high level of human consciousness with both spoken word and the art form as well.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And after 9/11, a lot of people, including myself, I can't even lie. We were angry, We expected retaliation, we had emotional responses, but you chose music, instead? Why music? Like go deeper into that. Why did it allow you to express that, words or emotion alone, or you could not?
Well, again, it was things that I had noticed that weren't fitting in well with what the messages we were being told. I mean, I noticed that there's always messages to try to divide us, and we are so naturally united. And then when I started to follow the words of that poem and try to live up to them, I found myself in places that I would have never been able to travel even as a musician. Because as a musician, well, yeah, you can travel. You can go to other metropolis areas mainly, You could, and there's places in Europe, Paris, and I had been to them, Tokyo, and, these big cities, and you could go there and hopefully if you're lucky and get to play concerts and play in clubs or do stuff like that, which I had done, London, this place, that place. But when I started Jazz for Peace, one thing led to another. The poem my life led to the response from that event, which was a unique response, which was a poem. The poem led to being recited, then put to music, then living up to the words, led to something called a benefit concert series, which even before the benefit concert series, it led me to, or around the same time, it led me to the United Nations. So I ended up doing a concert at the United Nations where I brought together Palestinian, Israeli, and American jazz musicians. Just as I had found myself in an apartment one day playing with, I just told my manager, hey, make sure you have Palestinian and American jazz musicians in this band because I want the world to know that music brings this together. And I don't even know if a lot of these problems are necessary if you bring in the arts and culture and you bring in things where people are willing to get together and say, no, this is the way forward right here, through music, right, through the arts, through culture. And so I brought Israeli, Palestinians, and Americans together at the United Nations through the art form of jazz. And as we as a species continue to screw up and, get more involved in conflicts and wars and, all of these things, well, unfortunately, what I did became more and more relevant. My peaceful way of addressing things gained relevance as we continued slipping on the same war banana peels. And we've been doing it all the way through history. I mean, I've been reading about Napoleon lately, I mean, all those guys, it's not a high level of of human consciousness when these guys slaughter and kill all these people. And the other thing I notice is that a lot of times we want it both ways. We want to go and conquer someone and do all this horrific stuff, and then we want to say that God told, the religions, oh, it was God, it was an act of God. We want to justify. In other words, we want to get the goodies on this end, doing something that we know is probably not humanitarian, and then justify it. Justify it on the back end. Oh, it was the message from, you know what I mean? And so, right, like weapons of mass destruction. You remember that whole thing, right? It was well. Then we found out it wasn't. Oh, well, sorry. We gave you that reason. If you don't like the reason it's on, that's your problem. That's what we're telling you to, you rectify it. But it wasn't because it wasn't but we want to have it both ways. See, if you could believe the lie, now you can say, well, we had to do it because the weapons of mass destruction. You know what I mean? Right. A lot of these things, and now as you find out more and more things aren't true. A lot of times someone wants to attack somebody, they attack themselves because the person won't attack them. Because the person knows that they have the giant military. Why would you attack somebody who's going to flatten you? So they attack themselves. They call it a false flags. There's all kinds of things. And I just noticed, I'm tired of all these untruths. I'm going to say what I know to be true. And as I continued this benefit concert series, like I was telling you, I found myself in the south of India, where no one had ever been. No one had even ever seen a Caucasian person. I found myself 9 times in the continent of Africa, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. This journey, as difficult as it has been. I found myself in Pakistan, flying in there in the middle of the night, in cars that have like tinted windows, so you can't see in, wearing clothes that I had in Nepal because I found myself in Nepal. And so I had clothes from the region, and they said, make sure you keep those clothes on because we're going to go into these schools to see the kids. We don't even want anyone to notice. By the time they even notice you, you'll already be in the school. You know what I mean? So we don't want to create a situation, you know what I mean? to give anyone even a chance for any kind of a issue. So,
Wow.
but all these wild stories, Stryker. I mean, the stories, listen, they're unbelievable. But everything's unbelievable about Jazz for Peace, including people, when I would come back from these trips and I would try to tell people who are gaslighted into what they believe, you know what I mean? Their indoctrination, I'm just, hey, I was just here, I was there. That's not really true, this stuff you guys think, you know what I mean? There's a way forward here, but they don't know that. So they would say, I looked at your program, it looks too good to be true. You know what I mean? So we had, and I would get letters from everybody. Everyone would send me a letter. We want you to know how much blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And we had a fundraising model called the Empowerment Tree. And here's the thing, Stryker. Now we're getting to the 25th anniversary of that United Nations concert. And I have psychic medium people calling me. They're psychic from other countries. Like from the UK, one guy called me. And I looked him up. He's a top, astrologer. He said, I need to talk to you because you're coming up in my charts and this energy and what you need to tell me what happened 25 years ago. And I said, well, I did the jazz. Whoa, that date. What was that date? What time was that? And they do it on the charts and stuff. And they say that the world energy is converging on these 25th of this, 25th of that. In other words, the 25th anniversary of 9/11, when I wrote the poem, he said energy is going to be all the way from now through then. Energy is pulling to that moment in time because what you did was so profound. Then he says, after that, what did you do? I recited it. Yes, that day that you recited it, the date of the first concert, and then definitely that United Nations date when you did that. So these things, energy, world energy, according to these psychic mediums. So I have to respond to that because that's powerful if these guys are right. And they know a lot more about, the stars and they know a lot more about this psychic stuff than me. So my response is, let's take the 1 year anniversary of this and celebrate it for 1 year. How about the whole world celebrate something for once? How about we all celebrate something good? And that is that concert at the United Nations that's coming up, the poem that came up on 9/11. As you know, we're even less than a year from 9/11, from the 25th anniversary.
Right.
And let's take that whole window from there to there and celebrate all of that, because that was a benefit concert series that people said is too good to be true, except for one problem. It wasn't. It really happened, and I'm going to share my screen and show you these people that wrote me all these letters, and all of it's
amazing.
true.
That is amazing. And I believe in the psychic mediums and astrology and everything. I think that like some people are tapped in to different energies, and I totally believe in all that. And the United Nations thing, you've done things that I thought was, impossible. Bringing, these different cultures together and, over music. And so it's possible.
I've
And
done so many things that people that I would have thought are improbable, but I've done them. That I'm here telling you right now, I want to do the impossible, and I want the whole world to join me. And believe me, there's 8.6 billion people in this world. We could do it easily if everybody participated in some small way that works for them.
yes,
Everybody, we could do it easily, and that's simple. I want to take funding. See, what I realized as I was doing all this was I was having these amazing things, which I'm going to show you on my screen in a minute. You'll be looking at it, and I'm like, that's my life, that's my truth, and yet that's not everybody else's truth. Why? Simple. We are funding war at 100%. We're funding it in the trillions of dollars. In fact, just the Israeli-Palestinian conflict alone, since the day that I did that concert, from then until now, someone did a study, and it's in an article, over $3 trillion just on that. Just that one. Just funding that $3 trillion. Imagine $3 trillion being divided up amongst all the people, amongst all of us.
Right.
Why should that be wasted on that? So here's the thing. We live in a world that's funding war at 100%, peace at 0. I'm going to show you now what we have done at 0, and that's why I am 100% convinced, 100%, that we need to take world peace, funding for world peace, from 0 to 1%.
Yes.
On
Yes,
the way
sir.
to 100%, but you got to pass 1, and
Right.
this is the year to do it. We can do it in 1 year if we have the will, if we get this word out, if everybody participates in some small way. And I'm going to tell the audience right now, just so you know, Stryker has already participated. He already looked at it and said,
Definitely.
I want to, and he chose one of the options. And I'm going to show the audience free options. So there is no excuse, because I'm going to show, so no matter, the ultimate excuse, I'm completely broke. No. The free options are, I couldn't say they're worse. They might be better. The free options are fantastic. You don't have to. There is no excuse, and I'm going to show you those. But what I'll do now is I'll show you what we did at 0 so that you will, let's see if I can get that up.
Please do, because people need to see this.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm going to show you what we did at 0. All right, here's what we did at 0. Let's see if this comes up here. Share. All right, are you guys able to see that?
It's a blank screen. Yeah, now we can see it. We can see it now.
Okay. Maybe I can make it bigger. Is that better?
Yeah, that's
better?
good. Yeah.
All right. This is the empowerment tree. So this is why we were able to pull this off. Because everybody thinks that philanthropy is you give somebody money. Well, first of all, it's not, okay? 9 times out of 10, if you give somebody money, you are, with nothing else, you are enslaving them. You are making them dependent on you, and you now are going to destroy all of their services if you don't keep funding them every single year, because they are enslaved. What we do is we empower people. We enlighten and empower people. So we bring a world-class cultural event, which, as you know, raises your level of human consciousness, okay? And then all of the activities that we do, and there's 7 of them, as you see on this tree, right? You see those 7?
Yes, sir.
Do you see this one, number 7? See number 7 right there, the top?
More publicized, better funded, more sponsored.
There you go.
Right.
More supported, more befriended, more prestigious. So there's 7 things that you're better off when you do a Jazz for Peace event. So you see what I mean? So funding is just one. You are more publicized because a world-class cultural event, believe you me, you have a right to go to anybody and say, I want this publicized. Look, this is Jazz for Peace. They're coming. Look at what we do. Look at who Jazz for Peace is. We have a right to ask for publicity. You will be more publicized. You will be better funded because we don't even move forward until we already have some money raised. Okay, so it's the roots planning process raises the funds to confirm your event at no cost to you. And that's the roots at the very bottom of this tree. So we don't even grow the branches without the roots. It's modeled after a tree. And so you're already better funded. And now we follow these branches, which raises more funds with every single branch. But you're more sponsored. These get sponsors. If you click on all these, you can click on, and you can see local business sponsors, local major sponsors for the different events. More befriended, yes. I mean, these are all the letters that tell us this, that we have so many new friends from this, blah, blah, blah. We are so much more prestigious than ever. Prestige, I've learned, is not a high level of human consciousness thing, but nevertheless, people do, it is nice to be more prestigious, and we do make you more prestigious from this because of new and prestigious and celebrities, some new and prestigious.
I was just about to ask you about that. Right.
Yeah. When you click on these, they open up. Actually, see, this is the tree. And when you click on any of these branches, they open up to this. These are all people that have supported our events. You know what I mean? This is Barack Obama, who supported an event we did he supported an event we did in Chicago because that was his jurisdiction. These are the letters that they sent, and what they said. Hillary Clinton was a senator in New York State, and we had an event in New York State, and we said, we need you to support this organization. Senator John McCain in, Arizona. Michael Bloomberg is the first person I ever received a letter from, and that was in a concert in New York City for Holocaust survivors. And we have all these letters online. You can see the whole letter online. We have all the letters. But now what I want to do is I want to scroll down and so that you can see what's going on here. So now as you see it, can you see the screen now where it says 15 awesome quotes?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, those are very well-known people,
Yeah, we can see
Professor Noam Chomsky. Again, look, President Obama, by bringing Israeli, Palestinian, and American jazz musicians together, Rick DellaRatta and Jazz Trapeze have used the transcendent quality of music to promote a message of peace and unity. You know, now 500 concerts later, Jazz Trapeze continues its mission of challenging humanity to realize that the forces that unite us are far stronger than the forces that divide us. I want to congratulate Rick on Jazz Trapeze and everything they've accomplished at this point, all the good they're sure to bring as they continue the concert series. Michael Bloomberg, we have the whole letter. Michael Bloomberg's letter is amazing because it really puts the Palestinian-Israeli issue in context with the fact that what Jazz Trapeze is doing brings them together. And we have brought Palestinians, and we have brought them together to the point where they have voted our proposal to end this conflict. And we just haven't been able to get these, whether it's Hamas and Israel and whatever, to look at what the people want. This is what they want.
Yeah.
And we have that proposal. We have that vote. It's crazy. 96% we got when we did that. This is, again, Ralph Nader. This is jazz great Herbie Hancock, something I got from doing I did something at the Lincoln Memorial for that. Anyway, as on and on it goes. But that's not even the beginning, okay? As you go further down, you get to something called a horse's mouth. We have a picture of a horse, mainly because we want you to know this is from the horse's mouth. This is from the actual people. Actual words of our empowerment, great Mississippi. Now, see over here, do you see over, I don't can hardly see at the top where we're scrolling. Do you see where that is? I don't know if you can see. My point is we're hardly even down this page. All right, this goes on forever and ever and ever. And we have other pages because, like I said, it's just too much. You know what I mean? It's there's 850 of these. Or this is Haiti. You know, this is Haiti. These are videos from Haiti. This is what the person said. This is what the where is that person? Well, this is from Nepal. The one from Haiti. Yes, right here. My staff, family, and I were proud. Marcel Jean Haley Scholarship. All these. Again, it goes on forever. Look, I mean, I could never get to. I could do this all day. The hour will be gone. I'll never get to the bottom. Do you see what I'm doing? This is on and on and on it goes.
Yeah.
So that's my point. Yeah, that is my point. So now what I want to do now is share. Okay, let me share some. Let me see if I can share something else. All right, what happens? All right, stop sharing. I'm gonna have to stop sharing. Okay, so my point is,
I'll tell you, you're definitely changing the world.
That's what we did at zero. Okay, so what I'm saying is, imagine at 1%. 1% is $10 billion higher than what you just saw. $10 billion would be 1%. Okay, because that's how much we spend on war. Only 1% of peace would be $10 billion. So I want to do that with this 1 year anniversary. I want the whole world to participate, and I want the whole world to take a look at where we are at 1%. Let's all take a look at that, because you know what? You can easily go back to zero. You want to go back to zero after that? It's have a ball. Go back to zero. I think they'll want to go to 2%. You know what I mean? I think they might want to go to 3%. But we got to go from 0 to 1 here. This is dystopian. This is not a world. We are not living in the world that you see on that page. That's my reality. And I want that to be everyone's reality. Simply by going from 0 to 1%. At 1%, that may very well be everyone's reality. So God only knows what 5%, 10% would be. We're so far off from our potential. We are so far off when you fund war at 100 and peace at 0. How you're at polar opposite of where we should be on this planet as far as our human consciousness potential.
For some reason, Rick, while you're telling me this, sadness just overcame me, because it just feels, you hear 0 to 1%, and it doesn't seem like much, but it feels to me like it is a lot to ask for, and it's like for some reason I feel like it could be done, but it's not going to be done for some reason.
It's easy to feel that way, but here's the thing: you have to realize something. That energy, according to them, is pulling further and further and further. I mean, you just found out about this for the first time a few days ago.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So every day it's possible that more and more people could be finding out. And here's the other thing. When you participate, you enrich your own spirit. In other words, you will find, when you participate in this, that you will feel more wealthy on the inside.
Right. Yeah,
You know what I'm
it's
saying? I
that's
think your
deep,
screen
man.
blurred up a little bit.
Is it good now?
So in other words, it could become contagious. I don't see your screen. I see a little bit better now. There's a little blurry on me, but maybe not on your end. I think Riverside
Yeah.
will fixes that.
Yeah,
Now
they'll
I see
fix it
Now I
once.
see
Yeah,
They do.
they'll
Fix it now.
it'll be good
It's a
once
good
it come
program.
out.
Yeah. So now I want to show you a couple of free ways that people can participate if they want to participate for free. In other words, don't think that there isn't a way for you to participate, right? So I'm going to show
Right.
you a couple. All right. So let's say all right. So let's look at, we have a letter called Easy Letter. Let me see where I put that one. Let me put that here. Let me look at that. Okay. Easy Letter. All right. Now, this thing, let me get the screen shared again. I'll show you this. This is, let's say you live somewhere and you have, every place has one, right? It could be a jazz festival, a yearly jazz festival. It could be a club, a venue. It could be a concert series. There's an arts and culture. There's somebody in the arts and culture of every town. Am I right or wrong?
Oh yeah,
Every town
definitely.
there's somebody. Right. So my point is, let's just say your town, let's just say it's Edinburgh, because I was just on a podcast from Edinburgh, Canada. And this guy talked about, yeah, we have all that stuff. I said, great. With no money at all, somebody can take this letter that I'm going to show you now and just find out who that guy is that runs that thing and go down there and show them that and say, would you like to be who you say you are? You say that you love the arts and culture and that you present the greatest arts and culture to this town. Would you like to actually be that? Here's the 25th anniversary. Here's 1 year for you to schedule something within here. And guess what? This artist may never have even performed in your town his whole life. And you know why he might not have? Because this is a book called... this book is called Paving the Path for Peace Through Music, The Amazing Story of Rick DellaRatta and Jazz for Peace. And the foreword is written by me, and guess who it's about? Mozart. And guess who never performed in Vienna and died penniless in a pine box that his wife and kids didn't even have the money to bury him? Mozart. After he wrote 50 symphonies. He wrote over 50. I mean, it's in my foreword. All the symphonies he wrote, all of the operas he wrote, all of the stuff he wrote. This guy never played in that city. Do you follow me?
Wow.
So I may never have played in your city. Have I played in Kigali, Rwanda? Yes, I have. But have I played in your city? Maybe not ever. And maybe I never would ever, because if you go to one of these cities now, you'll see a Mozart thing going on. You'll see a performance that this man qualified for in 1731. And you'll see them doing it now. It's not the same now, because he wrote that music in that time. It's not going to have the same impact. You know what I'm saying? It's like a derivative. But if you look at this thing, okay, so it said, well, you'd have to read the foreword, and you can. You should check out the book. And I think you can read the foreword for free on Amazon. We made it free, so you could read it. And then if you want to buy the book, go ahead and buy it. But read the foreword. Okay, so check this out. He gets thrown out of his position of servitude. So what happened to Mozart was he got really good. First, he was like a child prodigy, and they love him. You know, they love it when you're a little kid. Oh, isn't he cute? Look at how well he plays the piano. He's only 5 years. You know what I mean? They love that, right?
Right.
But then as he gets really good, now it becomes intimidating. You know, he's doing something greater than he's rubbing the ego of the king or something. So through this combination of extraordinary musical training, along with his own personal exploration and advancement, he has artistically outgrown anything that the superficial world could offer him. So this is a part of it, my forward. He is now exploring the true heights of his artistic potential by giving birth to music that stimulates the intellect along with the ability to advance mankind for centuries to come. This is the problem, okay? He gets thrown out of his position of servitude in Salzburg and is soundly rejected and disinherited by his own father.
Oh, no.
Because he's not, he's getting rejected. You know what I mean? Like, they're intimidated
Right.
by what he's coming up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Utterly abandoned by society and heartbroken beyond belief, he composes over 600 musical works in Vienna, including 21 stage and opera works, 15 masses, and over 15 symphonies, until he dies at age 35, buried in a pine box without even the money for his own immediate family to be able to pay for his funeral.
Age 35.
Okay. Yeah. And I could read the rest, but you got to read it's only 2 pages. Read this. Go to Amazon and read this. It's crazy. Age 35, he died. But then look at these other ones. Charlie Parker, age 34. Okay.
Wow.
Bud Powell. I don't know if you know the big names of jazz, but Bud Powell was one of the great pianists of all time. He got beaten up by police somehow, some crazy drunken thing where the police beat him, and he was never really the same after that. And then he died at 41. Billie Holiday died at 44. John Coltrane died at 39. So I've lived 2 Mozarts already, and I still haven't played in your town. So my point is, some towns I have, but probably not many of the people's towns who are going to watch this show is my point. So what you can do is, here's what you can do for this 25th anniversary. You can, let me go to screen. You could take this letter. All right, share. Okay, screen. All right, you could take this letter. It's called Easy Letter. jazzforpeace.org, which is our website, /easyletter.pdf. So that's the address. That's how easy it is to just go to that address. And you can share this letter with anybody, okay? Because what does it say? It says, one of the world's greatest jazz musicians, of course, I don't want to brag or whatever, but say one of the world's most acclaimed. I am a very acclaimed jazz musician. You could say that if you want. But, hey, it's up to you. If you listen to me play and you feel that way. Anyway, one of the world's greatest jazz, celebrating the most significant cultural event of our time. We're not going to argue about that. While raising $10 billion for world peace in just 1 year. Are you in? Well, folks, we got one shot at this. We got one chance. We got 365 days. So let's do it in this window. Yeah, we can do it. Let's do it in this window. Now, make history by including your city or venue in the 25th anniversary of what is now considered the most significant cultural event of our time. Now, you can click here to see me. And you're going to see me now playing live, but you can see me performing live in Times Square here in New York doing the first one. So the first performance to start things off, you can see me live clicking on that. But now you can go here, World Event, what other people have said, Cadence Magazine, world events have conspired to make the benevolent jazz mission of Rick DellaRatta more pertinent with each day's newspaper headlines. Above is the performance. Now here it is. Rick DellaRatta's concert at the United Nations on September 25th, uniting Israeli, Palestinian, American jazz, is now considered by such luminaries as Barack Obama. There's the letter. You follow me? You click and you can see his letter. Herbie Hancock, you can click and see his letter. And countless others. Like I said, Michael Bloomberg, this one, that one. Then you click on that. You can see the letters to be the most significant cultural event of our time. We invite you to take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And you just show that to somebody in your town. How difficult is that? For free. For free, my friend.
I'll be clicking.
Yeah. Doesn't cost you anything. You could do it, Stryker, you can do it in Brooklyn because they have the Brooklyn Arts Council. And you could show them your podcast and show them that letter if you want. Be my guest. Show them because, what are they? That's what they say they are. They say they are people who will take this, something like this and run with it,
Right.
And I'll play it. I played in Brooklyn before, but it was a long time ago. I played in Brooklyn. I'll be honest with you. The son of a jazz great, his son hired me in his band in Brooklyn once. The jazz great's name is George Coleman. If you ever look up this name, George Coleman used to play saxophone with Miles Davis, okay?
Okay.
George Coleman's son is a drummer, and his name is George Coleman Jr. And, I ended up at some jam session playing with, and George Coleman Jr. was playing. I didn't know who the
Wow.
guys were even. Yeah. And he comes up to me and says, hey, man, I love your playing. Can you give me your card? And I gave him my card. And he called me to play in his band in Brooklyn.
Wow.
Yeah,
Do you
he-
remember what part
yes.
of Brooklyn?
Boy, I just don't. I'd have to ask him where that was. I haven't talked to him in a while. I played a number of things in Brooklyn, but I'm just telling you one of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, one of them was George Coleman's son. George, same name, George Coleman Jr., just so you know. But
Jr.
listen, I haven't played in Brooklyn in a long time. And
Okay.
Brooklyn should be a part of this 25th anniversary. So my point is, if you could take that letter, show it to the Brit, that's one way. Now, that's free. That doesn't cost anybody nothing. And believe me, you will feel a lot richer on the inside because you're doing something significant. You know what I mean? People think, oh, I'm not important enough. No, you are important enough. Every single person out there, you're important enough to take that letter and go down there and say, you guys are the arts, did you say arts council? Is that what you are? Could you read this letter and let me know if are you in on this or not? You know what I mean? This
Well,
is
I'm
65 days.
I have a lot of that, arts and culture in my area right now. I'm not actually in Brooklyn though, Rick. I'm in San Diego right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a California boy now.
Well, San Diego, I've only played in San Diego, I think, twice. Well, I recorded once in San Diego. I was out there for a recording session by a bass player, and we did a recording session in San Diego, and then we went down to Mexico, and we hung out down there because it's so close, and we did some stuff in Mexico, and we came back, and then we did the another session. But I played once in San Diego, and I thought it was called the World Center or the World Trade. It was in La Jolla.
La Jolla, okay.
That's near San Diego, right?
Yeah,
Let me tell you something crazy, because I told you the crazy shit. I told you everything's crazy, right? I got a phone call from American Indians, and they said, Rick, we are from the Tiwo Manso something tribe, and we've been looking at your schedule, and we heard that you're playing in San Diego. I said, I am. They said, we're going to pick you up at the airport. Is that okay? I said, yeah, I could use a ride. Well, we're going to bring you to our place. You can stay. You don't have to stay in a hotel. You can stay. Is that all right? I said, yeah, that'd be good. We're going to feed you, too. My wife is an incredible cook, blah, 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 family. I said, wow. Yeah, she's an incredible cook. We're going to show you around the area. Is that okay? We're going to take you to your concert and back. We're going to drive you back to... I said, you're kidding me. I said, what's going on here?
Right?
I said, because that's my father that you helped in New Mexico, which I did. I went and helped his tribe in New Mexico. His father is the head of an Indian tribe in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And I went there one year, and the concert was so successful, they brought me back the next year. And when I came back the next year, they were doing that dance that they do with the incense and everything and blessing me and all this stuff.
Look at that.
And I said, and there were some people there in suits and stuff. And I said, what's going on here? And I asked, some guy looked kind of official. He said, because of what you did, or unless they think because of what they have advanced through the government, through these checkpoints to be given their status, to be given, you know what I mean? Where they can now apply to make a museum and their history and their heritage. In other words, you have advanced them unbelievably over the past year from the time of your concert up until now. But look at, if you ever get a chance, look at what Rwanda has done since we did the Jazz for Peace concert. There's a poster right back here of Amahoro Week. Amahoro in their dialect means peace. So my point is, amazing things have happened from these events. That's just San Diego. So I was in La Jolla. I went to those church, and I thought I played at a place that kind of had a World Trade Center kind of name.
The Rady Shell? Well, the Rady Shell's not in La Jolla.
It was a really... I thought it was almost... But see, I might be confusing World Trade Center with Portland, but I thought I played a place called the World Trade Center or some kind of name like that in La Jolla. It was a very nice... Yeah, it was a very, very nice place. I wish I could remember the exact name. Anyway... That's San Diego. I haven't been back there, but yes, we want to make San Diego a part of this. That's okay. I don't know why I thought you were in Brooklyn. You were from Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen,
well,
I was born in Brooklyn and raised in Queens. So Do you know people in Brooklyn still?
Yes, I have my
All right.
daughter lives in Brooklyn. I have a lot of family in Brooklyn.
Let's do Brooklyn. Let's do San Diego. Let's do.
Yes, let's do
Why
it.
should we? Yeah, let's do it. Now I'm going to show you another one because that's not all. That's just one thing. Here's another thing I'm going to show you. It's called Pay It Forward, and this again is completely for free, absolutely for free. And here it is. Okay, let's take a look at this thing. Is this coming up? Share. I don't know why it looks kind of black, the screen. Let me see what happens. Oh, can you see it?
The small version. Yeah, now I can see it. It's up.
All right. Here's the deal, okay? This is how we help outstanding causes, over 850 of them. And this is how we help the outstanding cause I just told you about in San Diego. This is how we help them. So basically, below is a true story as told to me by our founder who was asked to an informal meeting with a curious nonprofit in need. And this was written by the author of that book, Deborah Saratelli, Senior Event Coordinator, and author of Paving the Path for Repeat Through Music, The Amazing Story of Rick DellaRatta. If you go here and you click on that, you can read that foreword that I was telling you about Mozart. And you can get that book even on Kindle or whatever. But anyway, this is the story. This is what really happened. So now this is a board member, but I'll just tip you off. This organization is no slouch. This was the Red Cross. Okay? So the Red Cross contacts me, and they're like, we want to, can you meet with us? Can you have a little meeting with us or whatever? I said, yeah, I'll meet with you guys. So I showed up to a meeting. I figured I'm going to be talking from scratch, and this is what happened. And this is what you can share this with any outstanding cause, and they can see how to maximize this. So the board member, this is how he starts out. Hi, Rick. After careful review of the information your team has provided, we would like to start out with an opening statement. I said, okay, opening statement. This is now a statement by the Red Cross. Partnering with Jazz for Peace is an opportunity for the community to experience world-class music while raising much-needed funds, the American Red Cross. Okay, so that's the first thing that happened. So I said to the guy, wow, that is so amazing and yet so true. How would you like our team to turn that comment, which is a seedling, that's a seedling, into much-needed sustainable funds for your amazing services? Because that comment becomes the seedling, then the comments from the board members and the others become the roots, and now the branches are the empowerment tree. You know what I mean? When we get the sponsors and all that.
Yeah.
But from the seedling and the roots, we confirm the event, and I'm going to show you right on this page. The board member said, here's what he said. Actually, we have already reviewed the material your team provided that reveals the secret of your success, which is to start out with an already successful event via an easy 3-step process, which people can click on and see more about, that each outstanding cause completes, enabling each event to be confirmed at no cost to us, and in the best of instances with funds already raised for us in our account before we even start the fundraising process, which is true. That is the secret of our success. That's why people say it's too good to be true. But if you do this, your event will be too good to be true as well. So I said, wow, again, that is so correct. Would you like me now to show you that process? Now here's the board member said, actually, sitting across and on either side of me are 8 board members, all of whom have already received enough positive feedback to be able to pledge X amount of VIP tickets each, pairs of VIP tickets each. You follow me? So one board member has 10 people that are going to purchase a pair of VIP tickets. Another one has 15. Another one has 7. Another one only got 8. Another one had 20. You follow me? Anyway, there's 8 board members, and they all have this little VIP list, okay? And then he said, this is more than enough to be able to confirm our Jazz for Peace event immediately at no cost to us, and also with funds already raised for us and in our account so that we can start the funding raising process. Is that correct? Well, what am I going to say to that? I said yes, because that is correct.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's what he said next. This is how fast this meeting went. Our secretary will be sending over to you the required confirmation details, and once we receive by you, roots planted. In other words, all this is what we call the root planting of the roots. Once received by you, roots planted, which that's what that is. If it is okay, we would like to begin our Empowerment Tree fundraising steps, which is growing the branches, today. Like right now, like right after this meeting. I said, absolutely. I just have one question. How did you guys become so amazing? And he told me, so I'm going to pass it forward. He said, by following these 2 examples. 1, always staying humble and open to criticism. And B, eliminating the red tape that would slow our board down from being able to react quickly when we see a golden opportunity, which they felt they had seen. This head start on our Proving Funny About It played a key role in the spectacular success of this event, which, again, you can click on these hyperlinks. You can want to see how successful it was, click on spectacular success and see yourself how successful that event was. So, my point is, my point is, it doesn't cost anything for anybody watching this to go to this letter, which is called jazzforpeace.org / again, our website with a / payitforward.pdf. P-A-Y, pay it, I-T, forward, F-O-R-W-A-R-D. Payitforward.pdf. So jazzforpeace.org / payitforward.pdf. You go to that and you share that letter with anyone in need. And there's people in need everywhere you turn.
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely.
You can share that with them. And again, I can come to your town for that reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can, in other words, you can share it with a, you can share it. Let's see, how do I go back to where I was? If I push stop sharing. Okay, so in other words, there is no possible way that anyone cannot play a part of this. Now, there are some people who are going to say, "Hey, Rick, I run a business. I have an estate. I have a house. I have a car. I have a vacation home. Can I just contribute?" Sure, of course you can. But this is for everyone who is wondering that they might not be able to. No. You can contribute in a big way for free.
Yeah.
Big way. That's not little. Yeah, that's not little what you're doing. That's not little.
Right.
That is not to be slighted. I mean, let me tell you, it's an completely level playing field. Okay.
Right.
What you do with one of these free options might top the billionaire who just, maybe just tosses over a little check because he's got 8 things going on. What you do might be more impactful for free, is my point. So don't think you can't participate. Participate. We have 1 year. We only got 1 year, because if we blow this year, now we're going to be like, hey, did you know that last year was the 25th anniversary? You know what I mean? It's not going to have the same. It's not going to have the same punch that it has this year.
Right. It's symbolic.
We got 365 days to give this a shot, and we have no reason not to do it. Listen, I mean, there's only one 25th anniversary of the most significant cultural event of our time. Yeah. And that's it. We got this. Right.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to put that out there. And I have some, a pretty good following, and, so yeah, you're definitely right, and I love your energy, by the way, Rick. I'm sitting here trying to control myself, trying not to, jump out of my chair and get to work. This is huge. I love it.
You know what? There's a lot to not be excited about, and this isn't one of them. This is something that it's easy to be excited about. And the people that I first saw with this energy was my grandparents. When I played interviewer, I played podcast host. There was no such thing as a podcast. And I had a pretend microphone. And I was staying with my grandparents because my parents had to go somewhere. They would leave me with my grandparents, And I interviewed Grandma, asked Grandpa what it was like in Italy before he came to America. What was it like on the boat? What was it like? And I was a podcast host for my grandparents. And their eyes got with this passion, And so now I'm starting something called the Legacy Series, because that I would want to, if I had captured my grandparents in that, our whole family and future generations would be benefiting from that. We don't have anything. We don't have it because they didn't have it. But I can do that for somebody else. So anybody who wants something for their grandkids or whatever, we have something called the Legacy Series. And I need curators. So in other words, I can't find them all. Like I don't know who's in San Diego or Brooklyn. You know what I mean? You would know. So
Right.
somebody like you would have to say, "Hey, Rick, can I curate a series for the show?" Sure. You pick 8 or 9 guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we can also use, there's also fundraising ways that you can use that to raise funds for outstanding causes. And even sometimes, let's say a young kid who's having trouble finding a job, like some young kids are out of school, there's ways to supplement their income using this curator opportunity. So I just want to throw that out. In other words, we got a lot of ways to promote peace.
Right. Rick,
The Legacy Series is one.
I actually dreamt about this moment I'm about to ask you. I don't want to put you on the spot, but you've played on meaningful stages, including at the United Nations. Today, we're not asking for a performance designed for applause, just something honest and reflective. Can you play something that expresses how you feel right now in this moment?
Sure. What I'll do is I'm going to do something that I'll never do before or never do again. I'm just going to make up something off the top of my head, and I'm going to recite the Jazz for Peace poem so that you can hear those words over whatever it is I'm making up, because I don't know what it's going to be. It's just for this show. It could never be repeated. And then I might kind of segue into some kind of a little holiday thing because we are in this Christmas thing. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
and I do have a CD called Jazz at Christmas Time. So
Okay.
I took Christmas songs and I did something different with them, for the CD. And then I found myself in Pakistan, where they don't even know American music. They never heard it before. And I was like, what am I going to do to connect with these people before I get into, my show? And after doing the research, I found that they are familiar with ancient melodies, like in the 1600s. They
Right.
are familiar. Because there are Christians in Pakistan. I was actually helping these Christians who had their churches bombed and stuff. I was helping them.
I did
And
not
so-
know that.
Yeah, in Pakistan. Wild thing. If you ever if you type in Jazz for Peace Pakistan into Google, but I know you could go to jazzforpeace.org, again, /Pakistan event.pdf and see a wild stuff. But anyway, I started playing from my Christmas CD. I started playing those songs and they understood those melodies, So I'm going to do something. I'll do something that I played for them, but I'll get it. I don't know, or maybe, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something. And like I said, because it's holidays, I might sneak something that in. Okay?
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
There we go. My mic went out for a second.
All right. Okay, so we're ready? I hear jazz for peace coming through the trees. And in my heart, it fills me like a celebration. I see the light. And I want to follow. Inspired by the past contributions of those that came before. And laid the groundwork for us to build on in this universal language that is a gift for all mankind. it. People are enlightened by the creativity and artistry that stands for peace and love and humanity. When we speak it, people are inspired. Please. Humanity, intelligence, creativity that we have in our souls. So we can raise our total conscience and see that the gift of giving is our greatest privilege. I hear jazz for peace. Come, they told me, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. Long came to see, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. The finest gifts we bring, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. To lay before the king, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum, rum-ba-bum-bum, rum-ba-bum-bum. Shall I play for you, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum? Me and my drum. Very nighted, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. Ox and lamb kept time, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. I played my drum for him, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. They smile at me, but run, me and my drum. Me and my drum. Me and my
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was, oh man, my emotions was all over the place. You know, like that was beautiful, Rick, man. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. And that was just off the top?
You'll never see that. You will never see that again. I wouldn't be able to do it if you asked me. If someone held a gun to my head, I couldn't do that again. I wouldn't know what they have.
Wow, that is amazing.
It was the energy of the day, the moment with you, the time, the universe. You know, it was just my expression of the universe at this moment in time.
Wow, that's a man. You have an amazing gift, man. Thank you for that. I'm gonna be listening to that. Like, 'cause I was rocking, man. I was over here like at first, you know, I was a little sad at the beginning, and then my energy got, you know, it was just all over the place. It was crazy. I never felt like that before. But thank you, man. That was beautiful.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So, like I said, this is what we can use to bring us together, and you know, it's crazy because I did have a human consciousness expert on my show once, and she laid it all out, and it made perfect sense to me. She said we are mainly at these lower energy levels that are between 20 and 200, and she said really good things don't even come until after 200, and then she said 400 and up is where we're supposed to be.
Wow.
And then I said, I'm going to play something off the top of my head for you now, and you rate it. She said, okay, I said, be honest. I'll be honest. And I did what I did for you. I played something for her. It's completely different. She gave it a 540 rating.
Wow. Wow.
So, you see what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why I have these ideas that could help our world, and I always had them because I was blasting off into higher levels of music consciousness through music since I was a kid. So I've been up, you know what I mean? I've been woo, and I've been like, you know, and then, you know, like, what is it? Floating down like a leaf of a tree back to earth, you know? But I'm like, wait a minute, up there, we don't have these problems.
Right,
You kind of transcend out of a lot of them, you know?
Yeah.
And if I'm telling you, if we get our species together, get this podcast anywhere you want, because like I said, the whole species has to come together on this. You'll
Right.
see when I went to Pakistan, Abtac TV showed up. Abtac. I've never even saw this spelling before. ABBTAAKK is how you spell this thing. And they interview me, and you can see it on the microphone. Abtac TV. And they asked me questions, and they posted one of my answers, and that was an answer as to what do you think about something about the world. And I said, listen, when birds fly over Pakistan and into India and over to Nepal, they don't have a passport. They don't know that they're in a different country. When fish, when they're in the waters, they're in the waters of here, they're migrating here. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not. So we have to realize that, this is all one world. We're all one species. I mean, the fish and the bird, they don't have their, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have their passport. They didn't get their COVID show, all that stuff.
Real freedom.
Yeah. So we have to look at that perspective, at a worldly perspective, because
Right.
we may have to address problems as a species at some point. I would not rule that out.
Right.
There's a problem now, so I hear, with coral reefs. How are you going to address that? You'd have to come together as a species if you want to address something like that.
Right, right, definitely. Yeah, so Jazz for Peace continues to partner with, nonprofits, schools, and community efforts. Looking ahead, what impact do you hope the project continues to make?
Well, what I hope is that people will look at what we did at zero and say, wow, I can help get this whole thing from 0 to 1 simply by doing something. Taking that letter, bringing it over to my school, my college, my this, my that, showing, because I told you there's 2 letters. One is for nonprofits, the other one is for anyone in the arts. Wow, this guy's in the arts. Let me take that letter to him. Wow, this is a nonprofit right over here. They're a food kitchen, whatever they're. Let me take that letter over to him. You see what I mean? And even if it's not that person, you know what? Thank you. Let me show this to so-and-so. Let's get this passing around, get these letters passing around. Someone else might say, I want to volunteer. Someone else might say, yeah, man, you've never taken a salary. No, I've never gotten a salary. Well, maybe this little bit can, with others, maybe someday you can get a salary to do what you do, because you do work 24 hours a day. Yes, I work freaking all day, my friend. You know what I mean? But what are you going to do? I went for achievement. Now I've got the achievement, and now I want the world. I want the world to participate. Listen, Jazz for Peace has the way if we have the will. So if you have the will, if we have the will, we can get it done. But that's a big part of it, having the will. And if you just make that will you'll see that you'll feel better on the inside. You'll feel wealthier by succumbing to your will to make our world a better place.
I'll tell you what, I feel like $1 billion just, this past hour just talking to you, man. Like, you have a gift, man, energy, and it's coming through, the computer right now, and I'm just like excited, man. I'm happy that you're doing well. I got a smile on my face. I can't stop smiling, man. So, yeah, it's great. And thank you, Rick. I got a question for you. Every guest on this show have to answer this question for me. Mm-hmm. What is the war you're fighting inside yourself today?
For some reason, when I wake up in the morning, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I did have some people in New Orleans contact me to try to, they're like therapists or whatever, and we did do something live for them to help address that and stuff. But here's the thing. I'm in one world, and I feel like the world is kind of in another world. You know what I mean? So
right.
it's a tough battle to integrate. Integration, I think, is what's important. So I have to study philosophers, people like Carl Jung and stuff. I'm trying to study people that I can learn from to understand how the integration. This can all, because a lot of times you have something. And then you have something here, and it's not that neither one is good or bad. It's just that they are unable to integrate. That's what I mean. The whole thing. So, I guess that's what I wake up with it in the morning. It's tough sometimes getting started. It really is. Oh my God, I got to face this whole thing again.
Right. I feel you on that. Like I wake up like that too. I like it's just like a heaviness and.
Wow.
And, yeah, every day, and it dissipates as the day goes on. But
Exactly.
I feel exactly what you're saying. That's weird.
Yeah, it was rough. In fact, the best part of my day so far has been this time with you.
Right. Exactly. Like I feel better all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah, if you caught me right when I woke up, you'd be looking at someone who's like, "Oh my God, am I going to be able to pull this day off on this planet?"
Right.
Right. So I don't know what to do about that. I'm trying to address it, trying to work with it. But it's a tough thing. I think, You know what it is? It's kind of like a wave, a wave. Like if you can build a sandcastle on a beach, right? And a wave comes in and flattens it and then reflattens it on the way out,
Right, right.
And that's kind of what I'm up against, because when you look at that page and all those testimonials, you see this same jubilance. You see this same, you see that in their words, you know what I mean? But the wave comes and flattens it out, and then you're back to where you were again, because you're talking to people who haven't experienced it, and until they experience it, you're back at square one again.
Right. Right.
So that's something that's kind of a bit of a heaviness that I do have to face each day.
Do you try meditation? Does meditation work for you?
It does, and I do it at the keyboard. I can do it. I can literally meditate and it's kind of like almost like Tai Chi meditation at the keyboard. And I love to do it, actually. I would like to do more of it, but a lot of times I'm doing it and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do this more, but I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to reach out, I have to do, administrative work because we don't have anybody to do it, stuff like that. But I would like to do more of that. I would love to do more of that.
Definitely. So, Rick, for anyone watching right now who feels overwhelmed, divided, or discouraged, right, what is one practical action they can take today to bring more peace or connection into their life or community?
You can actually go on YouTube, because everybody knows YouTube, right?
Right.
And you can go to the YouTube search bar, because everybody knows there's a little search bar at the top of YouTube, and you can type in JFP25. That's it. So easy to remember. Jazz for Peace 25, JFP25. If you type that in, that'll get you started. Watch a couple things that we've put under that JFP25 search. Watch a couple things, gain some inspiration, and then go into the description box for the links, to see the links. Like I told you, Pay It Forward, Easy Letter, and just read the pages. Just read that stuff. And I'm hoping you will feel as inspired as I saw Stryker feeling when I was talking. So I'm hoping that's what that would do to you if you went and did that. Just JFP25.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Rick,
now, the other thing I would say, I was contacted once by a company that wanted to do an article on the 5 things that make me happy. I didn't even know I was happy, but I said I'll do the best I can. And I wrote 5 things down, and I put, find a blank that works for you 5 times. And then I put things in. And one of the things I put was, find a philosophy that works for you. You know what I mean? Find an activity that works for you. Find a, you know what I mean? And it was just 5 different things. And you might want to try that too. Type in the 5, find a blank that works for you 5 times. I would put, because if you find a philosophy that works for you, just that one can go a long way. An activity that works for you, a hobby that works for you, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Right. If you do if you find 5 of them, those 5 things, if you incorporate them into your day, that could really give you a boost, right?
Yeah. That's good advice right there. Rick, man, I don't want to let you go, but man, this has been great. Thank you for being here, and thank you for choosing, to respond to pain with creativity. You are, like I keep saying, that you're gifted. Family, explore Jazz for Peace, learn about their work, and if it aligns with you, support it, share it, or participate. We're not here to argue, we're here to understand. Rick, thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate everything you're doing. Keep up the good work. And, I love it. And
thank you, Stryker, for choosing one of those options that we have available. By the way, you can see some of those options on a page called jazzforpeace.org/easybooking.pdf. And this is where people can bypass the wait list to come on the Jazz for Peace podcast. Right. And those free options are there. And Stryker chose one of them. And
I chose
already
one.
Participated.
Yes, definitely. So, I chose one. I believe in this. Yes.
Yeah, so if Stryker can do it, you can do it too.
Yes, please,
Let's all
people.
get. Let's all. Basically, are you in? Let's go for it. We have 365 days.
365 days, people. Come on, let's go to work. You heard it yourself right here on WAR. Each one reach one. That's what I keep saying. That's my go-to right there, Rick. Each one reach one.
Beautiful.
We're all recovering. Until next time, guys, stay sturdy. Peace.
The invasion of Iraq is a good time to take stock. Since the war began, 3,192 U.S. troops have been killed, more than 24,000 wounded. At least 50,000 Iraqi civilians have died.
It's war.